So this is child abuse, medical malpractice on a massive scale. This is not a fringe issue. Every single school in Canada, pretty much, has children now wanting to transition. I hear about it all the time.
Hello and welcome to our first must-watch video. Today I had the great fortune of running into Chris. You need to check out his website at billboardchris.com. As my 16 subscribers know, when I got into this 2.5 weeks ago, the major issues I wanted to discuss were the issues affecting Canadians and the issues that weren't being reported on by the CBC and other corporate media. They just simply are not allowed to talk about it. But this issue deals directly with the future of Canada because it concerns our children and what is happening to them. Chris has a great message, and please listen to the end, and please visit his website at billboardchris.com.
I'm here just to have conversations with people about what is happening to children who have gender dysphoria, because we're rushing kids into physical transitioning by giving them a drug called Lupron, which has no clinical studies at all ever done into children. This is a drug that was originally intended to treat prostate cancer in men and endometriosis in women, but it has the effect of completely blocking puberty. So it's being used off-label and given to kids, no questions asked, affirmation only approach, where a child will go to the gender clinic at a children's hospital, and like what just happened a couple weeks ago at CHEO here, a 14-year-old girl went to the gender clinic. 20 minutes later, she walked out with puberty blockers. And so these drugs, it's a really harsh drug. In North America, it's called Lupron that we prescribe. It has different names in other countries, but it does the exact same thing. And it completely stops puberty. So girls won't grow breasts, bones won't gain any density, which is a huge issue, often ignored, because we have young adults not even 30 years old with early onset osteoporosis. Boys' genitals won't grow, girls' pelvises won't expand. Some studies show that it affects height. Some studies show that it affects cognitive function, memory loss, things like that. And there have been no studies. So what we're seeing is a 3,000, 4,000% increase in the number of young girls when they hit adolescence presenting with gender dysphoria. This isn't a traditional case of gender dysphoria where it started early in life and persisted. These are girls that grew up girly girls, and then because of social media, school lessons, TikTok, Tumblr, YouTube videos, whatever, it's being presented as an option where they can just escape some of the trials and difficulties of puberty and being a young woman. And we're taking a generation of kids that are going to grow up to be gay or lesbian, and we're telling them that because they fit what are traditionally perceived to be stereotypes for the opposite gender, because a girl is a tomboy, we're teaching them that they're actual boys and that they'll feel better if we block their puberty. But now what we're seeing is a lot of young adults in their 20s who are now detransitioning because they realize that they're gay or lesbian. A lot of the kids that go to these gender clinics have autism. Up to 40% of the kids in some of these gender clinics have autism. Almost all of these children have some comorbidity going on, like depression or anxiety. And instead of doing talk therapy with these children, or just doing watchful waiting, because about 4 to 5 times these kids with gender dysphoria, if they're allowed to go through puberty, it'll just go away. But we don't do that. They go to the gender clinics, they're affirmed only, they're given these drugs, and then this is always the first step in a medical pathway, which then leads to the opposite sex hormones. So girls get testosterone, boys get estrogen. We're sterilizing children. For a lot of women, after about 5 years on testosterone, their uterus has suffered so much atrophy that they have to get hysterectomies. So this is child abuse, medical malpractice on a massive scale. This is not a fringe issue. Every single school in Canada, pretty much, has children now wanting to transition. I hear about it all the time. Just walking by me today, a ballet teacher told me one of her 15-year-olds is now transitioning, and she's in line to get a double mastectomy. And it's happening everywhere, and we're not allowed to talk about it. The media won't report on it. CBC refused to report on it. A few CBC reporters have tried to, but the company won't let them. And so I put up a billboard in Vancouver in September that said I heart J.K. Rowling, because she's spoken out about a lot of these issues. And it got covered up the next day. Censorship, because a Vancouver private company A Vancouver City Councillor named Sarah Kirby Young complained, she freaked out, called it hate speech. It says, "I heart J.K. Rowling." There's nothing hateful about this. It's absolutely ridiculous. But they covered it up. And so I thought, well, they might be able to take down my billboard, but they can't take a sign off my back. So that's what I decided to do. And if the media won't report on it, I thought, well, I'll just go and start having conversations one at a time. And eventually maybe this message reaches enough people and reaches some powerful people that can do something about this.
How can parents help if their teenagers are going through these problems?
Parents need to know what's going on before these kids start going through these problems. Because once a kid starts transitioning, once they're indoctrinated, it's really hard to reach them. I talk to parents all the time. I met with a dad just 2 nights ago at a restaurant in Kingston, and he's breaking down in tears. This great, big, wonderful, strong, kind man, successful businessman. His daughter's transitioning, and he's powerless to stop it. And they won't listen. The kids won't listen because at this point they just think their parents are transphobic and not progressive, and they don't understand. So we need to know what's going on. We need to empower our children by teaching them the truth, because when these lies come along in school, if a kid already knows the truth, these lies will just bounce off. But if they don't know anything about this, they're an open slate. And when the entire school system and all their friends and all their peers are in favor of this ideology, it's really difficult for a child to resist that. There's several court cases. There's a man named Robert Hoogland out west who tried and failed to prevent his child from going on these harmful puberty-blocking drugs and cross-sex hormones. There's another woman I met a couple weeks ago who went to court to try to stop her 17-year-old from getting a double mastectomy. The first court put a stay on it, so they put a pause on it, but the higher court overruled and said that this matter had already been settled. So fortunately, this 17-year-old girl hasn't gone forward with the procedure yet. Her mom is still able to talk to her, and the girl is holding off for now. But the courts are against us, the politicians are against us. Oh, there's a bill about to pass into law. It's going to pass. I've just been speaking with some conservative politicians today. It's called Bill C6. And this bill is going to do what on the surface looks like a good thing. It's about banning conversion therapy. And there's 2 components to it. It'll ban conversion therapy of a person's sexual orientation, which everyone's fine with, because we shouldn't try to mess with a person's sexual orientation. But gender identity is a totally separate issue. And this bill conflates these 2 issues as though they're one. And what it's going to do is make it a criminal offense for even a professional therapist to just do talk therapy and watchful waiting with gender dysphoric children. Because a counselor who has a practice treating gender dysphoria, it's simply a matter of time until gender extremists, activists come for their business and say they're trying to convert the gender identity of a child. And then these professional therapists will be in court trying to defend their practice, facing up to 5 years in jail. This isn't an organic thing that's happening. We've seen a 3,000% increase, 4,000% increase in the number of girls presenting with gender dysphoria. It's a total social contagion. There's a book written by Abigail Schreier called Irreversible Damage, The Transgender Craze Seducing Our Daughters, which is a really good book for people to read if they want to learn more. But we have to get informed on this issue. Most people don't know what's going on because the media refuse to report. So I'm just taking it to the streets.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, that's Chris doing his part to try to make the world a better place. Please check out his website, link in the description, and just spread the word around so that people know what's going on.